Davies in the middle. Checks back against Carter and scores. That is atypical for the Meadow Park goal.
Quickly gets it back again. Oh, what a goal! Well, that sums up her season. The Gunners are WSL champions.
Good evening and welcome to the Vic Akers Wonderland podcast, episode 7. And tonight it's just me and Matt. Another 3 points in the bag for match week 14. No, 15. Hang on a minute.
14.
No, yep, 14. It was 14. Getting my numbers muddled, as usual. But yeah, another 3 points in the bag. I mean, the title charge is on, is it not?
Well, it's difficult to say. You got to. This is the problem we had last season, is that we could only do what we did, and then obviously Chelsea ended up winning the league on the last day with that unfortunate collapse with United, which I will never forgive them for. Let's put it this way.
Yeah, here's hoping United get one over on Chelsea over the weekend. Although I'd rather them both lose.
Let's wait and see at the moment. I know when we were speaking to last couple of times, Adam was saying about how the league will go. He was expecting United and Chelsea to be up there, and then it'll be up to us and City. I'm fully expecting United to collapse at some point.
They haven't really had that many injuries recently, have they? Really, to be honest, it's gonna happen at some point. But we've got about 10 weeks left of the season to May. We're almost at mid-March, so not that I'd wish injuries on anyone, but if it benefits the Arsenal,
someone's going to slip up. We just know it. It's just a case of how we saw last season, especially around this time. City picked up points after points after points, got that momentum, and United just slipped down, couldn't get themselves back out with it.
Yeah, and
it cost them Champions League football. And City didn't do any better. Let's put it that way. In the qualifiers, ended up getting Real Madrid in their second to last qualifier, and ended up getting lost because of Caroline Weir scoring the lucky goal. So it'll be interesting to see what happens, but I think everyone's kind of hoping around the club at the moment to get that Champions League spot at the very least. We finally won a trophy, and let's just build that momentum from there. Game against Liverpool was a good way to start, although it was 2-0. It could have been we're sitting at home. Obviously, you're on the ground. It did look like we had the opportunities. One thing really, really annoyed me was Frida Marnham kept having those shots at long distance. Couple of times she could have played. Well, I call it the best mead ball, where you just play it through into that's just before the 6-yard box, and then someone runs onto it. Victoria was on the right hand side. She could have had that shot a couple of times, but Frida deciding to shoot straight into 4 or 5 different players. It just didn't work. It's just not what you want to see. But I would like to have seen a few more goals, if I'm honest, in that game.
Oh no, we definitely deserved them. I mean, I did find with Victoria Pelova, I did feel like, although we were standing there, it was snowing, it was cold. I had my snood up under my glasses. I was trying not to steam my glasses, otherwise I can't see. And I will say there was no scoreboard, which was really annoying. So you couldn't track what minute we were on. And obviously, me being me, I'm sitting there checking my watch towards the end, because I've got to get home at the end of the match, and I'm sitting there thinking, it's 9:15, why haven't we finished? Do you know what I mean? And don't get me wrong, I love being there, but when it's that cold and you've got distance to travel, it's not fun. It really isn't. But yeah, there was no scoreboard, which was really irritating. The fans made it known, scoreboard, what's the score? So, you know what I mean? But we all sitting there enjoying ourselves. Well, not sitting, standing, because it's the North Bank. Duh, idiot. But the sides were fairly full. We actually had the East Stand thing back to us, which was fantastic. Liverpool did pop up now and again, but it wasn't like major Liverpool. So it wasn't bad. But in terms of the game, though, they give as good as they get. They're defending once they were 2-0 down. Like they weren't going to let another goal in. So, some of it was like for me was like really lucky, just being in the right place at the right time. Stina again. She scored again. It's 2 games in a row now. Will she do it on Sunday, Matt?
I'm hoping that she does. When we last spoke, I said that I hope this is momentum going forward, and she's delivered again. She's got to do it again and again and again now, and hopefully that goes forward because we've got some difficult games coming our way. Obviously, not Reading, but further on down the line we'll have the game against Tottenham. Although actually, funny enough, we've got a break next week, so it kind of helps us as well. We've got Bayern Munich coming up as well, so we've got to be careful of that. And then we've also got Man City, who will be a very interesting one, and United as well. So
yeah, no. We've got at least we're at home for one of the 2 Manchester games. I know that's already sold out. And then obviously St George's Day, in 23rd of April, we're up north in Manchester. Hopefully, we can pull off some points up there because we usually do, don't we?
We do, but there's been, I believe it was United's first or second season they won 1-0 up there. Funny enough, my second away day was against Manchester United, and we won 2-0 last season. So that was something that I was quite happy with, and I think
it's always great to beat United and beat Chelsea and occasionally City, but I think it's more a case of not necessarily getting the points and getting one over on them. It's more a case of just like, yeah, we beat you. Your fans can't talk to us now. Because both Chelsea and Man United have the most equally annoying fans. Like, just even in the men's game, they're just worse. You know, it's just I don't know how to describe it, but do you know what? Fans are fans. They probably have got the same opinion of Arsenal fans. I mean, floating top of the league in the men's, we've just become Conti Cup champion with the women. We're now gunning for that Champions League spot for the rest of the season. I mean, it's gonna be a successful season if we do get that Champions League spot.
It will be, and I know you mentioned about the league title. To be honest, if any of those top 3 teams now, or any of those other 3 teams decide to slip up, or if the Australian Sonogo can accidentally score a couple of own goals, that help. I shouldn't really be calling it that because Sonogo, at least Sonogo helped with an assist in that 2014 World Cup, FA Cup final. But it's just anything could happen in this league. You never know. The last season, Chelsea ended up playing Reading and losing. No one saw that coming. And
yeah, a bit like us almost losing. Did we lose to Birmingham last January? Yeah, we did a bit like that.
I was at that.
That was their bogey. There was that bogey game. I remember you was at that game. You was not happy. You was not happy after that. I think none of us were happy because we were expecting them to turn them over, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, it wasn't just that though. There must have been about 200 of us in the away ends that day, and maybe even less, maybe 150. And we had one guy deciding to abuse the players, the referee, all the players, all the referees, whoever was walking past, and it just didn't help. And I was looking.
It doesn't help anyone when people do that. It's a bit pointless, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah, we lost a few good players that day as well because Leah Wolfolti missed out because of she had to pull out halfway through the warm up, so she wasn't playing. Luckily, I ended up meeting Melissa and sitting next to Melissa and her mum that day. So
yeah, that was brilliant.
Just commentating here and there. Oh, do you want to give a whistle for that? No, just making snide comments, and it's just how friendships start. And
yeah, I know. I mean, I was on my way up. I jumped a bus up from Barnet. I think it was the 107, because that's halfway through from mine, and I bumped these two fans. Father and son, and they said, "Oh, you're going to the Arsenal game?" Because I had my Arsenal scarf, and you could see the cannon over my face. I went, yeah. Do you know where we're getting off? And I went, yeah. I'll tell you what, you can. I'll take you down to the ground. Like, it doesn't bother me. Like, they're standing in the same area, so might as well come on then, come down with me. I think what I found really interesting though his old man was a Tottenham fan at an Arsenal game, which I thought was bloody brilliant. And he was actually, by the end of the game, he was singing the Arsenal songs. And I loved it. Well, the player ones specifically, but yeah, no, it wasn't like all the Arsenal till I die and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I just found it really, really brilliant. And he was saying to me that the women's game needs to be recognised. I love a game of football. I love watching the girls. I love watching the men. And for me to find someone of without putting it too insultingly, of the older generation to be able to do that, they're the fans I absolutely adore, because you still got the dinosaurs that have that horrible attitude. But I can't wait for this game to grow. I really can't. So it's match week 15 this week. This weekend, all the games are actually on Sunday, believe it or not. So we've got 12:30 kickoff with Chelsea at home to Man United. Brighton are at home to Man City at 2. Liverpool are at home to Tottenham at 2. Leicester City are at home to Everton at 3. West Ham and Aston Villa are at home to Aston Villa at 3 p.m. And the Arsenal are at home to Reading. 6:45 kickoff. I wonder why.
Right, it's in that slot. I don't know why. It's just getting ridiculous. We were told when at the start of the season that everyone was going to get a fair share of that 6:45 slot. That was the start of last season, even. I think if you look at it, Arsenal are usually the team in that 6:45 slot. There's no other team that gets that slot more than Arsenal, which is just ridiculous. That needs sorting out. I get it, you do it for the numbers, but you can't keep turning around to teams and saying, right, you're in the 6:45 this for the next 2 weeks. You need to change it up. You can't just have...
I do feel you need to start rotating it, because although when I don't go, I get to watch the men and straight after the women, and all the women are on first and then the men are on. I'm winning in that sense as an Arsenal fan, but I feel that the other teams need to be showcased as well. Because the league is not just about the Arsenal. So,
we've got a week's break, isn't it? Because after that week, we've then got the Champions League game. So the 6:45 slot doesn't really matter. But if it was 6:45 and then this coming Tuesday we were playing in Munich, that would be a problem.
I know it would. It's more stress on the players than actually needed. But there's also the argument that I've actually had an interesting conversation earlier in the week that to play at top level, you need to be able to compete at top level and have that short time space and convert it into the next game. For me personally, it is a little bit unfair, especially if you're changing time zones and things. If it was in like the WSL and it was on home turf, not a problem for me personally. But it's a case of time zones. I mean, I'm not sure what the German time zone is ahead of the UK. I think it's about an hour or two. And the thing is, an hour doesn't make a difference, but it does make that difference when you're playing fairly late, because in your mind it's later than it should be. There's no time to adjust and all that kind of stuff. How are we feeling against ahead of Reading then? What do you think? Are they gonna bring it on, or is it gonna be a nice walkover for us? I hope it's not a walkover, because I want an entertaining game.
I think this is going to be the issue. Last time around it was only 1-0. It could have been 4 or 5, but it was Megan Walsh that was the difference in the end that kept the scoreline down. I would like to see us carry on with how we've done in the past. The past 2 games. If we can get a clean sheet is a bonus, because it adds up at the end of the season. I would like to see us win by more than 2 goals, but I think 2-0 is probably a realistic scoreline at the moment with the way we're playing and how everyone wants. I would like to see a goal in the second half, because there's nothing worse than sitting there wondering for 45 minutes and you've had an entertaining first half. I'll take the Conti Cup, because all 4 goals came in that first half, and you're thinking, we want you to score down here. And it didn't. The amount of times that we had Victoria go on a break, Caitlin go on a break in that game.
Yeah.
Even against Liverpool, they actually did very similar, but they just couldn't get that extra goal. And at the end of the season, we've seen it in the past, but at times goal difference can win you silverware, or it can be the difference between Champions League or not at times. And it makes a huge difference if come the end of the season. And I'm hoping that we can get past that 2-0 mark. I'll safely go for a 2-0 win. And as long as we've got someone scoring the goals, don't mind if Stina scores another one. It helps silence her a little bit, and it keeps that run going, which is going to help with the momentum.
Yeah, no, I quite enjoyed her reading the game a bit better. And this time around, her confidence and hesitation seems to have vanished now after she's scoring again. Thankfully, I think she was offside maybe once, as usual. But once is enough. But any more than twice, I think it's a bit much, if you know what I mean.
She scored one. No, it was Leah's goal.
Yeah, Leah was completely offside, but
it's like, oh yes,
it went in. We were all celebrating, and someone tapped me on the shoulder and pointed over to the linesman, and I went, "Oh my god!" Because they wait a second before they put the flag up, and it drives me absolutely nuts. I mean, they do that in the under-21s game as well, and it's just like, why are you waiting? There's no VAR for you to go and check. Make the decision straight away. I mean, I did enjoy Leah's celebration. It was a little bit cocky, but it was absolutely brilliant because obviously the North Bank just erupted and we all went nuts. It's just unfortunate. It was like offside. It didn't look offside from where I was sitting. What about you? Did you manage to see much through the snow on the lens?
That was the problem. There was the camera we were given. I think they needed to have a proper cover over it because it didn't look like it had a proper cover, like you said.
No, they didn't. I mean, even the photographers had a bit of cloth over the top. That, the photographers that sit around the edge, tiny little bit of cloth, and like there was only 2 cameras for the whole game, which were up on top of I think it's the West Stand, opposite the tunnel. The bench. There is no tunnel, unless we're at the Emirates.
Oh, bench cam. I wouldn't mind seeing that.
Yeah, I would love to see a Jonas bench cam every day, like every match day. I mean, can you imagine what the one? I think they did one. Did they do one for Selhurst Park?
They must have. I'm sure.
I think they did because I've seen bits like clips and pieces, but that's the sort of thing they should be targeting, especially on a cup final. You want to be on that bench, filming everything. I mean, you think Arteta celebrates? Wait until you see Jonas go. I mean, I think the most iconic picture for me of him is that he's the game at Chelsea when he beat Chelsea at the Emirates.
The knee slide.
A picture of him on the floor, and it's just like celebrating, and yeah, I mean, it's just I love it. I mean, that picture will be iconic, but I still think we should get a statue of him at some point outside somewhere. Probably the Emirates, but I'm still waiting for my Meadow Park statue as well as my Beth. Like
that comes and goes.
As well as Beth. I know.
1 minute it's in the club shop, the next minute you can't see it anymore. I don't understand.
Yeah. Thing is, I think the 3 I think it belongs to Adidas, and they just pull it out of the storage as and when. Obviously for the women's games, it's got to be in the shop. So I think it should be a permanent feature, but
if it was a permanent feature, where does it go? Do you put it
where they usually put it?
Oh, but where?
Because as you come into the armoury, it's usually just over to the left amongst the shirts, and then there's like all the women's fit shirts. There is the ideal spot for me personally. She needs, as much as I love seeing all the girls on the back of the shirts, there's no other women's presence in that armoury. Like, you've got the pictures on the walls, but the girls aren't there, and that's really annoying for me personally. The club can do so much more. Can do so much more. Even in the museum, they can clear some of the men's history. I know the history is massive, but for the size of the museum and hardly anything of the girls, there's like a couple of pictures of like Alice Scott and everyone, all the girls on there. So for me personally, having the girls on the stage with the Champions League trophy is massive progress. It's massive, but there's still a lot to do for the girls.
That is the problem, isn't it? We were talking a bit off air as well. You go to the club shop now. I just before Selhurst Park, so they've got the calendars right at the front. This is this year's calendar, so the one that sees a lot is on. maybe we'll do a supporters one in the future. You never know.
Yeah.
But it's just that's at the front, just by the desks, and then you've got the little photo cards as well that you see right tucked in away towards. I believe it's that passing dual cage that they've got.
Yeah.
It's just a bit bizarre. And then obviously they've got the shirts. I think I've seen more Kate McCabe Arsenal red shirts already with the WSL printing than any other player.
Yeah, no, exactly, and that's kind of disappointing. Which again brings us back to Gio. Obviously, you let us know we can't get Gio in WSL font. Me being me, cheeky, went to go and get my Martin Odegaard shirt done because I've now got all 3 players for the season. Last season, I ended up with 2 of the girls on 2 shirts and 1 of the guys. So this season, I switched it up rather the way around. So I've just got my Beth Mead shirt. I said, "Oh, have you got Gio in the WSL font?" And the guy went, "Who?" I was like, "Gio, the Arsenal number 19 for the women." Oh, let me get down. And then he asked his colleague. His colleague went, "No," and run. Didn't even mention the Premier League font. He ran away. I was like, wow. Like, great customer service. But yeah, you could have just like politely said no and explained it. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I just thought I'd be annoying and ask. I'm like, just out of curiosity, not like obviously I believe when you told me, I was like, let me just test the waters on this. But you think with her being here since is it coming back since January, you'd have the font.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure Everton had the font. Do you know what I mean? Just send the spare letters down.
Everton are really odd because you can't get their font, their WSL font. You have to go to Foodies to get it.
Really?
Yeah. They will
do
the Premier League font and that's it, which I think is a bit bizarre.
That is bizarre because the WSL font is so much better than the Premier League font. I hate that Premier League font with a passion. Like, and the only badge you'll ever see me on any of my shirt sleeve is the WSL badge. I won't put the Premier League badge on it. Not a fan. Not a fan at all.
Let's have a look. It does look like they have put it on the club shop this time.
Oh, have they?
Yeah.
Hey.
I don't think I can share that. Yeah, I can. I can share. There we go.
There we go. Oh, just wait for it to come up on the screen. All right, I'm gonna hope and pray that it is on the screen because I personally can't see it.
I can't see it. So
yeah, should take it down for now.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
stop.
cool.
Okay.
No worries. But you can now order Gio online at arsenal.com. Not that I need to push any shirts for this club because I spend enough money in there myself. 3 shirts a season. Adidas, keep the good shirts coming, but please don't take all my money.
Have you seen some of these ridiculous mock-ups of this away one?
Oh, please don't. I know someone who's working on the shirts. They're all false. So I'm just holding my breath and I'm hoping I might get a sneak peek personally.
I do love
the Arsenal shirts for next season.
On the Emirates. I do like that idea.
Which one?
The gold. There was a home one that had Fly Emirates, but it was in gold, and then just.
Yeah, that's a remake of one of our. I've forgotten what year it is, but it's a red shirt, white sleeves, and then it had the gold lines down into the centre.
That was one of the years we won the FA Cup, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was just before it got bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing is, it's a Nike kit. I think Adidas need to stay away from the Nike kits and just reimagine the Adidas ones. And then when Nike come back, reimagine your old kits.
I'm still not a fan of the home kit this season. Like, it's just.
I'm not a fan of this. I mean, I've got my top button done up tonight on the collar, but I'm not a fan. I will always have like a hoodie under this, so I don't feel like I'm suffocating with a collar around my neck. I'm not a collar person, but it's a case of I've got all 3 last year. I'm having all 3 this year because I know when if Nike and is it Puma come back, I will not be buying any shirts. So I just need to pad out my Adidas collection for now.
Nike had some good kits. It was just Puma. They had the right ideas, but some of them were just horrible.
Horrific.
Yeah. Horrific. It was mainly the away shirts, wasn't it? The away and the third kits that were just.
Yeah, they were decent, but the home kit, get in the bin. So I've just had text skimming through. Reading have won in the last 5 games. I just feel like they're going to be up for a win, and I think the girls will need to be on their toes.
Yeah, that is something that they gave us. We thought we were going to go in. If I remember rightly, they lost their game against Chelsea the previous week. It was about 5-6 nil. So we thought, oh, this can be cakewalk. And in the end, it was only 1-0. But we had to work hard for that 3 points. And I imagine that's going to be the case this time around. But I have a feeling this time, what's different is that we've got a team that have just won a trophy for the first time in 4 years.
Yeah.
A striker.
3.5, 3.25. We're not quite there for a full 4th year. I won't have that. I won't have that. We did
4 seasons, 3.5, as Adam put it last time around.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
it's going to be an interesting game. It'll be more of a case of what can Reading do to hurt the team.
Yeah.
Realistically, there isn't really anyone that I look at and go, you're a real threat. Reading have one of the smallest budgets in the league. They're lucky to still be going as it is.
Yeah, but they're not currently sitting in 9th. They've got 10 points, I should say. I mean, you got Tottenham sitting behind them and Brighton, who've just sacked their manager, and then you've got Leicester at the bottom of the table with only 6 points all season. So I don't think Reading are too bad to stay out the relegation zone.
You need realistically about 15 points to stay in the league at the moment.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but I mean, the bottom 4 have all got 10 or below.
Yeah.
So.
Reading are only 5 points away. So a win in the next, it doesn't matter when it happens. The 2 wins takes them out of that relegation battle. Will then be, but I imagine sooner or later Reading will not be able to keep up with the rest of the league, and they'll be the ones that go down.
Yeah, no, definitely they'll eventually go, but I think Leicester will be the ones to go out. I mean, they've their goal difference is -25, so it's not been great. I mean, Man United added 4 before the cup final on Sunday, so it's not looking great for them. If I'm honest with you. Also, Brighton has a worse goal difference at 27. They've got 2 more points though, so it's
more
basically
open this season.
Negative numbers from 7th down at the moment.
It's more open though this season. I think both ends of the table. It's not just Leicester or Birmingham that have got the potential going down. You've got potential Brighton going down. Even Tottenham could go down. Even at Reading, it's not just one horse race to see who's going to be.
Oh no, exactly. I mean, it's the same at the other end of the table. There's 6 points in it.
Yeah.
All it takes is a couple of slip-ups. But do you know who's really impressed me this season? Because they've got the right signings. It's got to be Aston Villa. They are my surprise of the season, and I've enjoyed watching every moment of them when I can.
They've been fantastic, and the fact that they took the mantle against Man City and won that game.
Yes.
Even if it meant Rachel Daly dragging them across the line. But it's not just that. They've got Anna Patton as well, who we're all keeping an eye on.
Yeah.
And she's done a fantastic job. When I went to go and see her with the under-23s, she stuck out like not a sore thumb. That sounds a bit harsh on her.
Yeah, that is a bit harsh. I was going to say sore thumb.
But she stuck out quite a lot because
it sounds like she had a sensational performance.
Her heading abilities come along so well since she's been there. Her positioning's getting better every time. She wants to be that centre back, and I can just imagine her taking over Jan Beattie's role.
Yeah.
Next.
I was just, do you know what, ironically, I was just thinking that because obviously Jen is at that point in her career. Is she going to continue to play and stay on the bench where she is, or is she going to retire and do something else?
She does have a podcast with Rachel, and
yes, it's one of my favourite podcasts. so it's a case of obviously she's going to continue to do that, but is she going to still play? And all that kind of stuff as well. Yeah. That's the main question mark over it. As much as I love Jen, will she be willing to keep going? I think she will, personally. But we'll just have to sort of wait and see. I mean, do we know when her contract runs out?
her contract was only for a year, so
Yeah.
imagine it's quite great actually. A lot you've seen lots in her again. Funny enough, in her contract, she turned around and said that she wants more development programs in the Hackney area.
Yeah.
So that things that she could do to help her community, and you're seeing things like that being added into players' contracts now, and hopefully it's not just going to happen in the women's game. You're going to see it across the men's as well. You're going to see. I'm trying to think of a player that's got a contract coming up soon for the men. I imagine Bukayo Saka might decide he wants to do something along the lines of the ethnicity sort of side. He wants to build that up a little bit. You might have someone like Smith Rowe decide that he wants to do some sort of code, like a mentoring program, something like that, and build it from that. And the club's got the space for it now, and it's really building on it. And it just shows you how rooted a lot of these players are to the club and what it means to them to not only just play on the side, but they're actually doing things. Jen
no, definitely
is doing mentoring as well as, I can't remember what her degree's in, but she is also doing stuff with the club itself, not just the mentorship. So mentorship even. So it's interesting, but let's see if it carries on. But I think that it will.
No, definitely. I'm speaking of Lotta. I think one of my favourite chants from Sunday was Lotta's going to rule the country. So, I mean, obviously this has come out after her and Leah and I think and Ellen White secured 600 million for schools to have 2 hours of PE every week for the girls, so that girls can play football. I mean, it's absolutely incredible considering it was a dream on the back of a bus when it first started. I mean, to do that for me it is incredible, because if I had that at school, I'd be playing. Do you know what I mean? I mean, football, I am absolutely football mad. Since Saturday, I've been to 4 out of 4 games for the Arsenal, 2 for the women, 1 for the under-21s, and 1 for the men's. I'm always in and around this club. So obviously I didn't travel to Lisbon last night. I've been there, done that, wore t-shirt. I don't desire to go back to Portugal, if you know what I mean. But yeah, it's just, there's so much the club are doing. Lots has been amazing. I mean, I didn't quite agree with it being broadcast on International Women's Day. I think Sunak did capitalise on it because it's relevant in the media at this point in time. Because he's not in a very good light at the moment. Again, football and politics don't mix. I've always said this. I mean, look at the Gary Lineker situation. Ian Wright, Alan Sheeran has stood by him. The people have the right to opinions. Just because you run the BBC doesn't mean you can block people's opinions. What have you made of all of this, Matt? Like, let's just go back to Lotta. I mean, I did dip into the men's there, but
well, with Lotta, I think she had this on her mind throughout the Euros that a lot of this wasn't happening. They were looking at the journey. I think a lot of them were reflecting on how far they come, and it was Lotta who came up with the idea, for those that don't know. And they were sitting on the back of the bus, and they just basically pen and paper wrote it all out, and then they went and put it all out as much as possible to all their social media platforms and just spread it as much as possible. I'm thinking back to my school time as well, and at that moment in time, the girls were playing football, but it would be only for like half a term. So I think it would be either that autumn for like 6 weeks, that's it, or 3 weeks, and then they'll swap to something else. But at that time, if I remember rightly, everyone was up in the PE curriculum because it was leading up to 2012 Olympics. So just to show you how my age sort of is.
Yeah, no, the thing is, I remember doing it, and like between the whole year group, there was like a rotation of 3 PE teachers. Like it's secondary school, not primary, because primary school we used to play around us consistently, nothing else. because that's what we all wanted to do. Because that was just, if you're good at batting or good at fielding, that you want to do something that you enjoy, and at the time that was the choice of it instead of like cricket. Cricket, not for me. Boring as hell for me. But if they gave me the choice of football, playing football with the boys, I would have been up for it because I'm the only girl out of my age group, my cousins. And we're all 28 to 35. Yes, I'm showing my age, but I like to play football with them. I don't mess about. I will go in 2 foot, Granit Xhaka, fearless as Raffaele on Sam Kerr. I don't care. But it's a sport that I love. I enjoy playing it now and again, although I get bruised like hell. But it's something I enjoy, you know? But anyway, being back at school, I was just like, yeah, you did it for 6 weeks and that was it, once a year. And like, if it was a choice, a lot more girls that I grew up with, we'd be playing football still.
A lot of from what I remember as well, one of the girls, because I went to 3 tiers, so in middle school, this would have been year 7, she decided to ask her dad to set up a girls team. And because there wasn't enough interest, she ended up having to get girls from the lower, the lower year to help make a team up.
Yeah.
So, but even then, it was small-sided. I think it was only like 9 a side, which didn't even see them play or anything like that. I just knew about it, but
you're aware of it, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Whereas you'd be fully aware of the boys' team and what they're doing if they won something and everything else. So that's one thing I do remember, and it used to irritate me. I'm like, why can't we play? What, because we're girls? Are you serious? Like, I don't want to be sitting there playing volleyball. Volleyball, not for me. Like, everybody loved, like, I don't know if you had this at school, but the big massive trampolines. Everyone loved that. I did fall off and break my arm on one, but, you know, I decided to do too many cartwheels across it, and I just missed well, not so many cartwheels. I mean, like, just flipped myself over, and I misjudged my landing, and I fell off backwards. Crunch. So that wasn't fun, but
missed out on things like fencing and things like that because they decided to stop it the year that I went up to my 3rd school.
Yeah, no, do you know what? We never had anything like fencing. Like, it was just the most basic sports that they could do with the space that I had. We did have access to the university around the corner's AstroTurf, but we didn't use it properly. So, like, can you just imagine if we go for PE lesson? Okay, let's go off the AstroTurf. The first thing you want to do is play football. And it's like, oh, girls can run around the edges, boys, you can play football. I used to kick up a stink, so. But that's just how it was when I was growing up. But I'm hoping this whole program changes everything. But what I fear most is when money gets tight, that's going to be the first thing to go, and that worries me. It really does.
That essentially you've got a couple of voices now making the voices heard. Marcus Rashford, Lotta, and the Lionesses, as well as, you all know, if someone was suggesting on Twitter today that they should be actually running the country, or can we just skip to the part where they do?
Yeah, I think that's where the Lotta song come from.
Actually, you know what? It might have been Adam.
Yeah, no, I think it was, you know, and it's just like, we talk about so much, even off the podcast, and it's like, we're trying to remember, did we talk about this? Did we talk about that? But yeah, no, I get what you're saying completely. Like, I know, it was probably Adam, Mr. Wise and Mr. Puntastic. I know he's going to listen to this back and then message, why are you calling me Mr. Puntastic? But he's always got a good pun for us, has he not?
He has. Oh, I did let one slip where you said gunning earlier, so I thought.
Yeah, I know. I did notice that, but I wasn't going to make a big thing of it. So, I thought, yeah, gunning's the right word.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. What do you think the scores are going to be this weekend? I think we're going to predict. Let's predict wins or losers for match week 15, shall we?
Yeah.
So starting with Chelsea at home to Man United, who's going to get the points for that? I'm going to go first and say they're both going to lose because I'm not choosing.
I do want to hold up a sign that says, can both teams lose?
Yeah, I want to be that meme as well. I love that meme. It's one of my favourites. I mean, I would actually probably replace the sign with Steph Catley because Steph is now out for whatever reason. She was seen on crutches and with a boot on her foot. I'm wondering if she partied a little bit too hard after that cup win. So, but I hope she gets, well, everyone on the podcast, we hope she gets better soon and we'll have her back very, very soon. So Chelsea or Man United?
Jonas's quotes about Steph, he said that she wouldn't be available for the Reading game. But again, she's got a week to recover before that game against Bayern. So
yeah, hopefully she'll be back from that. I'm hoping it's just a mild sprain at this point. So
usually what it is, a lot of them do get the protective boot just in case.
Yeah.
To be Man United, Chelsea. The question is, are Manchester United going to get PTSD? Because essentially that was the game that lost them Champions League football last season.
Was it at Kings Meadow though?
It was at Kings Meadow as well.
Ooh.
So
PTSD incoming.
So they lost that one 4-2, and they had the lead at half time 2-1.
Oh dear, that's not good.
That have United got a killer instinct in them? I'd say Alessia Russo is the better player than she was. A lot of the Lioness players are, but it's the wall of Millie Bright. How do you expose Millie Bright?
I think Leslie Russo needs to take a leaf out of Stina's book for that, because Millie Bright was absolutely knackered by the end of the first half. So
that might be the difference, but I hate saying it. I think Chelsea are going to win it.
Yeah, no, I just want them both to lose, and then I'll be happy.
Draw would be preferable, but
yeah,
draw would be preferable. Red cards across the board, so then they both have to suspend the game and say no one won. That would be ideal, but that's not. I think Chelsea would win it.
Yeah, no, I think as much as I'd love Millie Bright to get a red card, that defence will fall apart without her. It's not going to happen. She plays smart football. She's very intelligent in the way she plays. It's just, she's probably going to take Leslie home in her pocket again. So we'll see. And our next game is Brighton v City. I think City are going to spank them. It's just one of them feelings. You've got Bunny, you've got Chloe Kelly, you've got Lauren Hemp, and Brighton are in a bit of a mess at the moment, really, aren't they?
They really are. And when you've got a team like City next, they're going to smell blood. I'll go back to our game at the Academy Stadium. Although that stadium is horrible for atmosphere, you can't hear the whole noise. It's so flat. Even though they say, "Oh yeah, you can build an atmosphere," you can't.
You can't. No, you just can't in that ground. I've never actually been there, but you can. When you view it from where I'm sitting, it's like, no, you can't. Not unless you're filling the whole thing.
I'll give a hats off to Belgium and Iceland, because they did manage to build some atmosphere at the Euros, but just you couldn't hear anything. Like the sound does not travel at all. It just sort of, it's there, and
it just kind of just comes out and then it fizzles out before it goes anywhere, sort of thing. Is that right?
Yeah. No matter what the away fans did that day, just nothing was working, because it just, the sound doesn't travel. Whereas
Meadow Park, it does.
Yeah, Meadow Park does. You even, because you've got the roof that's actually going up, not down.
Yeah,
it's flat. Because a bit of science lesson for everyone there.
Yeah, no, it just keeps the sound in. No, definitely. That's why I think I love standing in the North Bank. I'm quite happy to stand for 90 minutes, but it's also handy when the ball comes up your way, because I've noticed certain players like to hit the top of the North Bank instead of the crossbar, shall we say?
Oh,
when they're doing their long shots.
That was a good effort to try and dink it over. She just took too much on that shot. I felt so sorry for her. And then everyone was commenting on the Arsenal thing. She did. It was well over. It went into the car park. I was just like, you're not helping. You're
not helping her. Do you know what I mean? She's trying to find her feet. Just calm down. Like, there is potential there, but it's a case of her getting the experience to play against the WSL team. She was brilliant. Did she play against Leeds?
Yes, she played.
It was either Leeds or the other cup game. She was absolutely brilliant. I mean, for someone who's just coming back from Everton and coming straight into this team and playing like that is fantastic. Yes, we were playing in Leeds of National League.
Yes.
Yeah, so she played brilliantly. Yes, it's National League, but don't take it away from them. They're still a semi-professional team. You know. Yes, we had a nice high score line, but they're playing against people who train 5 days a week, not twice a week. That's the level difference. Yeah, no, I'm still waiting for an Arsenal goal. I just hope I'm in the stands for that because I'm going to go absolutely mad. So our next game is Liverpool and Tottenham.
Oh my god! You know,
so I think Liverpool are going to beat them. They're at home.
Yeah,
if they played any way that they did against us and actually find their shooting boots, I think Tottenham have had it.
The only problem is that Tottenham now have Beth England, and Beth England is going to be the one to, and Mano Iwabuchi before.
She doesn't look very happy there, I've got to say. She's not smiling anymore. Even in her picture, like all their pictures of them on the club website, they look miserable.
I think that's the thing, though. I don't know if you noticed, but Beth England as well was tweeting a lot of Arsenal stuff.
Yeah, no, she was liking a lot of Arsenal stuff. I mean, the Lauren James 2-0 and then the 3-1 from Amber. That's the one that got me, and I was like, yes, there's bad blood there. But she quickly unliked it. But the person's tweet who owned it got the screenshots, and it's everywhere. I think there's bad blood there for sure.
It's a hard one. Liverpool are quite frail, but I can't. If I can't say a draw, I think it's going to be. I'll probably go with you. I'll probably say Liverpool, but it will be something like when it was when I went up to the first game of the season against Chelsea. It'd be like 2 penalties from Katie Stengel or something like that, and that's the tide of the game.
Yeah. So our next game is Leicester at home to Everton.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I quite fancy Everton for the 3 points.
Everton have done really well this season. I've got to hand it up to Brian Sorensen. First season in, and he's actually building up and done a really good job this year, considering
definitely.
They're
currently sitting in 6th, so they're not doing too badly. So I think Everton might be in for the 3 points there, personally.
3 points.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Then our last 2 remaining games, we've got West Ham and Villa. I'm going to go for a Villa win. Rachel Daly scores the winner, assisted by Jordan Hobbs.
The last time these two played, it was Sissoko, the centre back, that got sent off.
That seems familiar. Sissoko. The name precedes her reputation, so to speak.
French international play for West Ham. Basically, literally the handbags were out and they were slapping. I can't remember the Villa player for the life of me. I think it might have been. Was it Hansen? It might have been Hansen.
Yeah.
But it was on BBC as well, and just thinking, this is a televised game, and they're having a
scrap, so to speak.
Yeah.
But then again, that's a bit like Katie. That was a bit like Katie in the Liverpool game. Like, Missy Kearns, leave her alone. She'll take on your whole team and win. Do you know what I mean? She's our Irish pocket rocket, as I say, because she's
actually.
Huh?
She's actually due a banger. She hasn't scored a banger this season.
No, she is. So there's still time. There's 10 weeks to do it. She's still got time. So, I mean, I don't think she can top that Villa banger, though. Oh, my gosh. I know you were there, but that is just one of my favourite goals I've ever seen. Like, it even tops my first goal I saw scored by Thierry Henry, like in 2001 in the Carling Cup. It's just absolutely unbelievable. And I just don't know how the Villa defence is standing there going, okay, that's not going in, but it goes in. Like, it's a miracle. So, okay, and then finally our game, I'm going to go for an Arsenal win because I'm an Arsenal bias and I've got my Arsenal hat on. But I think it's going to be a bit of a challenging game, though. I hope it is, anyway.
It'll be interesting to see how Reading line up. Are they going to go for that compact style of play that Liverpool attempted, although on the screen you couldn't really see much of it.
They did attempt it, but I've got to say that Frida Marnham had so much space to do what she wanted. Palova did at one point. Liverpool got so frustrated with Palova, they just doubled up on her, and then she got stuck. Like, there's a few times she should have shot, but there was 2 of them on her. She just couldn't get the ball out to take the shot, just outside the box. So
Still waiting
Hopefully,
for first goal as well.
if Victoria starts again, she won't get doubled up on. I really want her to score. I
Yeah,
really do.
it's against these sides that builds the confidence. If you can get a couple of them scoring, then it's great for them. Great start to the season. Great thing to say, hey, I scored my first goal this season, or last season joining. So,
No, definitely. So yeah, we'll wait and see what happens on Sunday. That is all from us tonight. We will be back on Tuesday, I believe, just to find out how the Reading game goes. After that, the Arsenal are not back till the 19th of March for Bayern Munich Champions League. Bit of a special episode coming out for that because both Adam and Matt are off to Germany and they're leaving me here. So very excited for them. Matt's first away day. Very exciting. Yeah, so like your face just lit up then. But also next week, you've got, if you're missing a bit of WSL, Tottenham and Leicester have been rescheduled for the 15th of March at 7 o'clock. So that will be game week 12 from when the pitch has frozen over. And hopefully that should be on the FA player, shouldn't it, Matt?
it should be. This is the problem. Is a lot of the broadcasts don't turn out until either the first of the month or a couple of days after the first of the month. So I'd imagine it will be FA player, but
just keep your notification bells on. I know the FA player reminds me on a daily basis what game to run, so I have my pick of games, which I do enjoy. But yep, that is all from us, and we will be back Tuesdays. Come on, you Gunners!